Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Don't get two of them?
I don't know which one's going, which one coming from.
Can't go back.
No, I literally just finished driving.
I drove back from Maine last night.
All right, we'll call it to order. They already signed the checks.
We have AP checks though.
The other half of that.
Paper, yeah. No.
Did you have time to find out the balances? I couldn't get onto the bank website.
Okay.
Having issues. Here's a notice of intent to cut. different abatements. One you guys already approved, it was for the Shepherds, for the property that was in transition between owners. For the inventory penalty of $25, there was just never anything signed, so that was approved at our last meeting. And then I have two more abatement requests, both for inventory penalties. It looks like I removed inventory penalties from some properties, not all. So there's two more.
So the penalty isn't the same?
No. It's up to $50
Is it a percentage or?
based on the assessed value.
I make a motion that we approve these two abatement requests.
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
I have two trustee of the trust fund requests to be signed. One is for $215,000 from paving capital reserve to help cover the cost of the stone that we use to rebuild the roads. And the other one is for $47,529.91 from the highway equipment capital reserve fund. That covers the lease payments for the excavator and the
Those are the ones we talked about last meeting, right?
We already approved them at the last meeting, didn't we?
I thought we did.
well, the leases were approved, but this is requesting the money from the capital reserve fund. So you guys,
So we didn't approve that?
I don't know if you approved that specifically. We may have discussed it.
I'll make a motion that we request $250,000 from the paving capital reserve fund to use for the gravel for repairing the town's road after the floods.
I'll second it. All in favor?
I make a motion that we request $47,529.91 from the highway equipment capital reserve fund. These funds were used to pay for our excavator and backhoe leases for 2024.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
That's all I have for signature.
Minutes,
No minutes.
no minutes. Anything on the funded for the broadband?
Kathy's not here to give an update, so we'll have to push it to the first meeting in January.
Okay, go to the transfer discussion.
Yep. Casella is here.
Yeah.
Did you have questions for his proposal or?
So I thought we were getting a proposal on trucking that could be to either landfill facility, but what we got was an updated proposal for, including trucking with going back to, NCES.
I just saw the addition. Sorry.
Incomplete. I got the 350, but he included the tipping fees too. But he didn't, I don't think,
From Whiting's?
yeah,
Yeah, he gave the container fee and then tipping fees, and I asked about which landfill and
yeah,
if there was
Email that.
mileage.
That was the email that came today, right?
Correct,
Which was a little bit vague.
yes. Do you have an additional proposal for trucking?
The one that I sent you at the bottom, it includes trucking to NCES.
Right, so is there an option to have, trucking up to Carberry?
That wasn't discussed. I'm happy to get that information for you. This, what we provided was disposal and trucking for NCES.
Okay, I think we had wanted, because we haven't made a decision to
Sure.
change where we're going yet.
So I'm happy to provide that information. Just wasn't aware that's what you're looking for.
Thank you.
Thanks.
that when Mando was here,
I'm sorry?
Barry and Mando, when he was here,
Yes.
he said Casella couldn't haul the,
He said he couldn't take their waste.
no, Casella couldn't haul the Mount Carberry, whatever you call it.
Mm.
Lancaster just signed Casella on to haul the Mount Carberry.
Yeah, I saw that in the paper.
Yeah, I think what he said was that they couldn't take their stuff to Carberry as opposed to going to their landfill, like when NCES closes. Excuse me, they wouldn't be able to take their stuff to Carberry. I think that's what he said. I don't know if he said anything about actual just doing the trucking part, but he said they couldn't dump their trash I don't know how to better explain it.
I don't remember him saying that. He was here.
I do
Like
remember
who?
him saying they couldn't dump there, like they couldn't, instead of dumping at NCES.
Maybe I took it wrong.
It's confusing. Like they take other municipalities' waste, but they wouldn't take waste that was supposed to go to Bethlehem, but couldn't.
But he did say, when we were sitting here, that Castellos could not haul to Carberry.
That's
You
what
better
we're,
go back to your minutes and read them.
well, that's what we're saying is whether he said that they couldn't haul anything or whether they couldn't haul their trash. Cause it's
I know, but he
different.
said right here, and said Castellos wasn't allowed to haul to Carberry.
I would have to listen to the before and the after if he made that statement. I'd have to go back and look at it, which I'm not opposed to doing. I just don't remember what he said specifically.
So you deal with transportation, Casella, right? So can you haul to Carberry?
Absolutely,
Municipal waste?
Yep.
Okay.
absolutely.
I want to make a motion that we have Casella take over the transfer to start with, because that's going to save the town a bunch of money. And then,
So wait a minute,
it's-
you mean,
second, you're like to talk. And the second part is, and I'd like to stay local, make a motion with Whiting prior to getting the final contract on that. Where Casella's gonna be taking up all the tipping fees, so there won't be no need for a price of 140 per ton.
But I wanna make sure the trucking stays the way it is.
Right. And if we can't do that, then, then I don't, your bid come in late, I mean, so I'm not,
so I'm confused.
you'll drive to Casella-12.
So I'm confused. So are you talking about just trucking? Or are you talking about where we take our municipal waste into Dubreuil?
Where we take it, so.
So I think we need to have that as two separate discussions.
Well, we can have that, but I mean, the point of all this is that everything leads to Carberry, where it's gonna be cheaper to go to Bethlehem.
So
So how do we,
Do we have a contract with Mt Carberry?
we had one initially and it just renews every year. So
when I
we,
talk to them, they don't
if we-
do, a lot of them don't do contracts, I'm sorry.
What's,
so we would, the first year, to go to NCES would be maybe $150 more per month. So about $1,800 per year more, but we've got the risk is that then we're stuck when they close and we may not be able to get back into Carberry. By the second year, when NCES ups their prices, the savings is less than $100, and so it's only about $1,000 a year savings. In my mind, that's not significant enough to change what we're doing now and make sure we have some place when NCES closes.
There's a risk in either way you go, because they don't do contracts. So, whatever, if they happen to shut them down because of their spill.
we're already paying like 70, 71, 77,
72.
72? Because Lancaster just signed on for 77.
And we are 72, I believe.
Or 72.
So they're not having issues like NCES in terms of things that could close them down that I've heard of.
Oh, they have quite a few issues. They have a lot of leakage going right into the river.
NCES does.
No, Carberry.
I have not heard that. Where did you hear that?
Trying to remember, as I said it.
It was in the paper, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm thinking so, but I can't remember where I saw it. I'd have to look it up.
So NCES has been in the paper with that problem with leachate spills and
So
we
it's
should
not
go into
Carberry.
Carberry? I've not.
Well, and out of Barry's mouth, he says, there is not one that doesn't leak. Any, you know, I don't know if that's just I don't know what it is, but anyways, I know that with the, going and looking to the open house and looking at how they build it and how they put the leach system in, I feel pretty confident on their, keeping things cleaned up. Can anybody have an accident? Of course they can. But the thing about it is reacting and fixing it right off. I mean, we have leakage in our own landfill over here that's leaking that we're not paying attention to. That has to be dealt with at some point.
So I'm confused because I've seen a lot of things about issues with reporting and the repetitive leachate spills and problems at NCES. So I can't recommend changing there, especially because we know they're going to close within a couple of years. And if we continue going to Carberry, then we'll be able to continue. If we stop going there, then they may or may not be able to accept us back.
I got a
And I think that's a
suggestion.
risk that as a town we shouldn't take.
So what happens with asbestos? Do we accept asbestos containing materials at our transfer station?
Do we accept it now?
Yeah. That's my question.
Excuse me, is your name Daryl?
No, that's Mark.
I didn't meet you, Mark.
I don't know, that's my question.
No,
No, we do not.
we don't take asbestos over here.
Okay.
No, we don't. They go up to Berlin. They don't up to, they don't take.
Did anybody ask the state what happens if you take to the place and shut down? The state has a law that you just can't leave you hanging on garbage. I would ask the state, if you were going someplace and they shut it down, you couldn't go there, what's gonna happen? They're gonna have to take it. The
So
state
are we
has an
all just
obligation
going
to
to
get rid of it.
talk out of order without being recognized? And if you recognize one person, are you gonna recognize everybody else in the room?
Can you wait till public comment, please? Yeah. Thank you.
So I'm confused. I don't know who's this fella here. What's he?
Casella.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He's with
I didn't
Casella
meet you,
Trucking
so I kinda like-
Transportation.
Well, in my eyes here, I mean, if we can, with waiting, this one here, I don't know if you got this one on the, I got that on the computer before I came in.
Right, and he's not very
It's
specific
not very
about it.
specific.
Yeah,
That's why I said it was incomplete.
okay. So with waiting, if we was to talk with him, I'm sure he's gonna have to get a little bit more per container, because if we go with Casella, then Casella's already taken care of the tipping fee.
Right.
And that's how they make the money, and he's obviously gonna be the cheapest for the town of Dalton. So with that said, have you talked to him where would he move right in, to start, because January is,
That's what he said today anyway.
Who, Whiting would?
Yeah.
But we don't have a complete proposal.
No, it was
So-
pretty incomplete.
So is this his price for going up to Carberry?
I don't think does he go to Carberry?
I don't think so.
So our other option is, because,
To switch back to Casella.
yeah, because, they're still cheaper than Barry Mendo. So,
So we don't have a cost for Casella. We're waiting on that to go up to Carberry. Do you know what that would be?
I don't off the top of my head, no.
Well, this is our only option, we have to move on that. So then I'll make a motion that we, ask Casella to move in to do our hauling at this point,
I'll second it.
To do our hauling up to Carberry?
no, because I am gonna make a motion to have them take over the transfer station, because it's gonna be cheaper all the way around.
So their proposal is not,
$35 a haul. We pay $2.95 now.
so they're not gonna take over our transfer station. We'll still have our transfer station.
Yeah, we'll have a
And as I say, we're
transportation,
gonna say,
and
it's a little bit less, but not
They
worth
will,
the
they will
risk of.
set the cans. and-
Excuse me, Tom? It's a little bit less, but it's not worth the risk of not having a place when NCES closes. If we're really looking out for the best interest of the town.
I make a motion that we switch from Mt Carberry to Casella.
I'll second that. We have to finish this before we have that second
Oh.
motion, though. So, if you call this, and
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay,
now you can finish your other motion if you choose to.
I make a motion to switch from Mt Carberry to Casella.
I'll second that.
wait, but what was the first motion? I'm sorry, it's not clear.
That
Have
is,
them do the truck.
Casella is gonna do the trucking.
Okay. I thought, okay. I was not clear. Can we do the motion again, because I'm sorry. I think we need to decide where we're going first and then look at the trucking. It was not clear what we were voting on.
We were voting on the trucking first one.
Okay, but you're pointing to a proposal. All we have from Casella is a proposal that includes the landfill and the trucking. We don't have a separate trucking one. So that's where the confusion is.
It's on,
And you're just pointing to it. You need to articulate what we're actually voting on. I have a copy of their proposal.
okay, then it's on there, if you look on page.
I realize that, but it was not clear what we were voting on. You're just pointing to something, and I thought we were,
Well, we have we have Whiting, we have Casella. There was, one that we're supposed to look at,
Then the Mandos.
you know, the Mandos is another one, he doesn't even do this type of thing. Whitefield, I forgot the name already, but anyways,
Oh, Presby.
Presby, they don't get into any of that hauling. They said, no, not at all, so. So we're talking about Casella setting the cans and hauling.
so was the proposal to use NCES and Casella for trucking? Was that your proposal? Was that your motion?
Yes.
I'm just trying to clarify what the motion was. And you made the motion, Tom? Or, no, Eric
I
made it.
did.
You made the
Well,
motion,
Tom did,
No,
and
I
then
made the
Eric
motion.
did.
and then Eric,
Eric seconded it.
Well-
And there was 2 ayes and 1 nay.
So they're taking everything, our trash and our recycling?
Yes.
and the way the scope of service reads, it's all recycling, so that means we can't sell our metal anymore.
No, we can, it's all written down separately, so if you still wanna bring, if you wanna bring your cans or whatnot to Littleton, which we can, to get some funding, we can still do that.
Okay, we don't have an agreement, so we need to look at the agreement and make sure we're clear on that, because this scope of services says all recycling collected locally will be delivered to the NCES transfer station.
Yeah, it can say all, but the thing about it is, you throw all your cans or all your recycling, you're looking at it as that's gonna be bagged and thrown into the dumpsters. But when I do it, it's up to, we can still choose to separate our cans, our plastics, and send them off to get funding from wherever you're sending them, to Littleton. It's no different than when Beatty was here.
I'm going to say this one more time, and this is the scope of services that Casella gave us, which includes the transportation. It says all municipal solid waste and construction debris collected locally will be delivered to Casella's North Country Environmental Services, in parentheses NCES, in parentheses, located at 581 Trudeau Road, Bethlehem, New Hampshire, for final disposal. All recycling collected locally will be delivered to the NCES transfer station and transferred to Casella's Rutland, Vermont MRF for final processing. So we'll need to negotiate that when we get an actual contract with Casella.
Sure, we can talk to them about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm pointing it out. If you look at this, their proposal and their scope of services, it says all recycling.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for a question. All recycling is described, it's on page 7. Page 7, it says acceptable materials: cardboard, paper, plastic bottles, jugs, tubs, and lids, metal cans, glass bottles, and jars. If I understand correctly, what you're referring to is scrap metal.
I'm sorry, I'm not having trouble hearing you.
I'm sorry. So the description of what's considered recyclable that we would collect at the rate that's identified on page 5 is listed out on page 7. Does not include scrap metal. So if you're,
It does include metal cans. Okay.
So I just want to clarify, the recycling that we take to Littleton and we don't pay to get rid of now, we're going to start paying to get rid of at $32 a ton.
I don't think so.
That's what it says here.
Yes, we are.
Recycling, processing, $32 a ton.
Well, we'll finish up with that. If you can email Rebecca and have her send out if they're doing a contract. Do they do it? Okay.
So we're not worried about paying for recycling.
No.
Okay.
We can move on yours now. That's all done.
I make the motion that we switch from Mount Cadbury to Casella Mountain.
I second that.
I thought we just did in terms of the proposal.
Well, that was trucking.
I'm back to being confused because you talked about a proposal which was inclusive.
This way we're bringing it now.
I know. We had a proposal that was inclusive, so I thought we were dealing with this proposal, which was where we're taking it in the trucking. So I'm confused in terms of the motion again.
If that's what the proposal says, then that's great. We can move on.
So we don't need to pay any attention to Whiting's if they get back to us.
It was incomplete, so I'll reach out to them again, but it's,
It wouldn't hurt to reach out to them. I mean, just to find out.
Now I'm even more confused. It would be nice to have more clarity on our motions so that there's no ambiguity about what we're voting on and that we're not changing our mind afterwards.
we're not changing our mind yet.
Yet. Okay.
All right.
no responses.
Everything's been sent out that I've received, so should be good.
Can notes?
We took $200,000 of the 500,000.
That was plus the, capital reserve? Or is that the capital?
No, that's the TAN note from the bank.
Okay.
So the TAN is the tax anticipation note, so it's while we wait for tax revenue to come in.
Right, good.
Revaluation proposal?
Need to decide which reval proposal you want to do so that we can get a contract in place for that with the current assessors.
And DRA doesn't recommend doing a full reevaluation, right?
Right, they recommended doing the cyclical reval because we just did a full
So we
reval.
could do the lesser of those two
Yes.
proposals.
Yes.
That's what we proposed last time, right?
I'm sorry?
At the last meeting, you brought that up too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's been a few meetings ago.
I think it was like 42 or 47,000 as opposed to like 95,000. It's half.
I make a motion that we go with the cyclical reevaluation.
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
What's the name on that, evaluator?
I'm sorry?
The person that's gonna do the valuation, who is it?
It's the same as the person doing the assessing. I think it's RKT or KRT.
The NCA negotiation reimbursement letter?
Thought we were gonna talk about that in one
We
public.
are. But it's on here, so. Petition special town meeting?
That's gonna be
So-
done non-public too.
Oh, yeah.
Well, actually, I mean, I took the time to draft a warrant for a special town meeting, leaving the date and time blank. And we could just go ahead and proceed with this, under RSA 39, we're required to schedule a special town meeting.
Right,
So the warrant is pretty standard. It just says the inhabitants of the town of Dalton and the county of Coos and state of New Hampshire qualified to vote in town affairs are hereby notified that a special town meeting will be held as follows. Date, time, location, which would be the gym, this building. Purpose to consider the following two petition warrant articles submitted to the select board on December 9, 2024, and then I copied both of the petition warrant articles. So if we could decide when to have the special town meeting, we could go ahead and process this, and we have to post it at least 14 days prior to the meeting. So I believe the earliest we could do it would be
It's the end of
January
January.
10th.
Well, we can't get anything in the newspaper before, I think it's the first week in January.
It'd have to be towards the end of January.
So I think like 14 days from today, if I calculated it right, excluding the current day and the
Yeah.
day of the meeting.
If we're gonna do that, I'd like the town attorney to be there.
Okay, so we'll have to check on his schedule.
Yeah.
you gotta have a motion for that, or?
Do we need a motion for that,
For what?
the town
Yeah, they-
lawyer?
Yeah, but shall we try to set a time so we can get the warrant posted?
Well, we'll set the time, and that way you can let him know what the time is, and it all comes together that way. And I was looking at my calendar, latter part of January is gonna work the best for me.
Well, we also have budgeting to get done,
Yes.
which is in January.
What about if we look at the week of January 13th? So that would give us the 14 days. And we have to, within 1 week after posting the warrant, cause copies of warrant to be published once in the newspaper of general circulation.
Twentieth is gonna work better for me if you want me there.
That's a regular select board meeting, right?
So we'll need to schedule another time. I mean, we have to have our regular select board meeting. We're way behind on our budget.
How's the 22nd?
I can't do Tuesday or Wednesdays.
How about Thursday?
Yeah, do we want to do it 16th?
Monday,
The 16th?
the select board meeting, yeah, that'll work for me.
No,
With
select board
the
meeting is the
special
20th.
town
Oh, for the
meeting.
meeting. Yeah, I mean, I think that will work.
Thursday the 16th.
At what time?
Should we do 7 o'clock?
7th?
So we're setting the date for, the 20th, select board meeting. That means that we're,
That's our regular select board meeting. It's every other Monday.
okay.
Our next one after today is the 6th.
So I make a motion that we sign the warrant to schedule the special town meeting on January 16th, 2025 at 7 PM in the gym in this building.
I'll second it. Depending on Nate's schedule.
So we'll check with him before we post it.
Do I have a motion to happen?
And then that just is a problem in terms of timing. If we wait for our next meeting, then it's gonna be moved out. And like, with the budget, we may need to be meeting every week. Although like, I can't do Monday, I can't do next Monday.
I think we might luck out, that it'll work out anyways. It's enough time if it's put out right now.
Mhm.
So, just to make it legal, I make a motion that we have legal there.
So we're gonna vote on the motion that's on the floor first.
What, have you already done it? I'm sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. I make the motion that we have legal.
second it. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Planning board update. Had San Souci done there. Went over the, evaluation for how he's gonna assess it, I guess. I didn't bring my notes, so I don't, just,
I didn't bring any notes either. No decisions were made about the campground application. We talked with George Sims
How do you gonna set mine?
and
The
also,
campground.
Adam King. We talked quite a bit about the roads, and what might be needed.
It's a thought that what needs to be done on the roads.
What's that?
The thought is that we need to do work on the roads, like make them wider,
Yeah.
is that?
Yeah, because it is narrow on the way up the hill going towards the site. And, you know, people right now are a little concerned about meeting any traffic, especially if there was any big trucks or anything. So, and I think some of that,
and the extra
Probably.
grading.
Hmm?
And the extra grading, weren't it?
yeah, yeah, they were, concerned that there may be extra traffic or even truck traffic. And people might be getting awful close to the ditches when you meet somebody. But I think part of that may have something to do also with the flooding that we had, and it still needs to be finished or completed to at least build back to what it was before.
So, has there been a conversation with the developer on funding the improvements to the road?
They weren't there that night, so I don't believe we discussed them with them.
Do we have an estimate for the cost?
Not right off.
No.
Adam would have to do an estimate on the road, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he might have to call in an engineer or something, I don't know if he can do it himself. That's a question for him, but it seems like we should have some type of memorandum of understanding with the developer, some type of agreement that they're going to cover the cost of road improvements that we wouldn't be doing if it weren't for this development.
Any updates on Smith Road?
Yes, hold on, please. Here's the estimate from them for returning it to what it was and then adding in the cost of the mitigation.
Copy of each of us. is pretty steep, but we should get reimbursed, it sounds like 90% of it.
Well, we'll get 75% of the preliminary, of the build back number, and then 100%
Of the difference,
for mitigation.
of the difference.
Yes, no, for mitigation. So like if the proposal is 236, so you get 75% of that, because we have to put in 25%.
And
And then,
so the mitigation will be on top of that. Okay.
yes, the mitigation would be the 236 number, 100%.
No, the replacement would be the 236, the mitigation's the 425.
No, the 425 is
Oh, it's with that,
with mitigation.
okay.
So the bottom dollar is town, is gonna, it'll probably cost at least $150,000 out of the town's pocket. That's how it's said and done. Is that correct?
$178, roughly.
And the timing of the FEMA reimbursement is such that we should get the reimbursement in 2025,
We should,
depending
yes,
on
yes.
when the work is done. Seems like we need to move forward. I don't know what the timeline is for completing this.
Well, they've got to finish the documents, put it out to bid, give time for the estimates, open the bids, issue the contracts. You've got procurement, and you're looking at March or April to start the work. Conservatively.
When he talked though, he'd get somebody in there right off. Wasn't he saying that, Joe Bell?
That's what I was trying to remember. I mean, but he's got to put it out for bid,
Yeah,
so that's a couple of weeks. He's
right.
got to get the permits from DES.
Well,
which
they
he
haven't
should-
even finished the bid set yet, so
So that's been, I think the holidays have probably delayed things.
Right.
I mean, it sounds like he hasn't gotten some of the data back for some of the detail in the quote. I think no matter what, we need to move forward with this. So I make a motion that we move forward with this preliminary proposal and let him proceed with the bid process of the permitting and.
Second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
and we did cut a check for them for almost $9,000 for the work that they've done since they completed the first contract. So they're supposed to be coming up with an estimate for the remainder of the work that they would need to do.
That's part of the FEMA. Repair fund in morning.
Yes,
Road damage from 12 to 12.
Adam's not here, so I know we had some road damage. I don't know how much.
That was Mountain Road and
Mountain
Faraway, right?
Yes, I believe so.
That's when it flooded, wasn't it? Pam?
And before we move on, I'm sorry,
Is it my
But-
turn?
I think we have old business before we move on to new business. I was going to- But we have to talk about the lot line adjustment, that request.
Yeah, that's right. That's not on here, but
That's
that's
not on there.
Right,
but it needs to
but
be
I'm
on.
remembering that we need to talk about it, so I apologize, Pam.
Oh, that was for, Dean, weren't it?
Right, or, yes. So if we as a board want to sell that half an acre, you know, there's a process we need to go through. We need to figure out how much we want to sell it for. And then in terms of following the RSA 41:14A, once we decide to do that, we need to develop a proposal. The proposal to sell it has to go to the planning board and the conservation commission, and we have to have 2 public hearings. And so I'd recommend, I'll make a motion, but I think we need to talk about what we want to sell it for. I know he wasn't able to pay market price, but we seemed like we
I know.
were willing to work with him, and I don't know, if, you know, $1 or $100, or I think we should include whatever we set as a sale price. I think we should add to that all the costs associated with it, so
Right.
the deed, registering the deed,
Legal.
legal should be on top of it. The lot line adjustment would be the planning board.
So after that proposal, you send it to the planning board
And then
And the
Okay.
conservation
on
commission,
conservation, and then it comes back here for another meeting.
and then we have to have 2 public hearings,
Okay.
and then decide on it.
they cover all the costs, right?
Well, we have to
Yeah.
have a proposal and see if he's willing to do that.
I make a motion that we set up a proposal on the cost of the lot line adjustment, legal. What else was I mentioning?
So do you want legal to draft the proposal?
If you think it's necessary, I mean, I never did one of those, so to be binding, maybe.
Probably would be better, at least review if one of you wants to
Yeah.
draft it.
And if, you know, they talked about, I mean, I'm okay with selling it for $1. You know, because like you said, we're gonna it's in an area that we don't use, and it's gonna give revenue back to the town when they built the house.
We're not building a
building a
house, the
house.
house is already there.
They're just gonna make rooms for the kids.
They
Oh.
need it so they can install a septic system.
Yes, I knew that part, but I thought they were building, but I guess I didn't catch that
They're
part.
just putting the field back.
Right, okay.
They're renovating the
Right.
the building. So we'll ask legal to draft a sale agreement for $1 plus all costs.
Yes.
And then when that's drafted, then on behalf of the select board, we can have Jeanette send it to the planning board and the conservation commission and schedule the public hearings.
Yeah.
I don't know how long that's going to take before we can schedule it. We have to have 2 public hearings. And I think they have to be within at least 10, but not more than 14 days apart. And public hearings usually have to be posted 2 weeks in advance.
In those public hearings, I mean, as far as the public hearing is, we can do it during our select board meeting, right?
We do it
So-
like at maybe 6 o'clock, like
Yeah.
before. Is that all right with you?
Yeah.
That works for me.
So shall we leave it up to Jeanette to schedule those?
Yeah.
Depending on timing when we get the proposal?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you want to add that into your motion?
What you said. Go ahead and say it for me.
So we have a proposal We have a motion to have legal draw up a sale proposal for this is the half acre piece, to sell it for $1 plus all associated costs, including deed, registering the deed, legal fees. When that proposal has been drafted by legal, Jeanette will send it on behalf of the select board to the planning board and the conservation commission, and she will schedule 2 public hearings. Probably to be at 6 o'clock prior to select board meetings.
I second that. Now, if you said
You want, so that's my motion? Okay.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so who motioned that?
I think,
So bad.
I think I did, I think it changed.
I got one statement about that before we continue. Should you not ask them if that's something they wanna do with, you know, of the cost? Because if they say, no, we're not going to, then there's no sense in doing all this. Does that make sense to you? You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah.
So maybe, I don't know, if we can get a hold of them to find out, to give them, to let them know that they would be taking care of A, B, C, and D. Just so,
Your contact, do you wanna reach out to them? And
Got it.
We'll
Yeah,
let Jeanette
yeah.
reach out.
right, that's it.
Move on now?
Huh?
Can we move on now? You all set? You left?
I am, yeah.
Okay, Pam,
Sure.
I think so.
I'm Catherine, Harriman Road, Dalton, New Hampshire. First, I'd like it if the select board would make a motion to keep select board meetings to Mondays at 6:30. No more catering to personal calendars. I don't believe select boards have ever changed from the day that they set it. It's always on a Monday. If you can't make it, as long as there's a quorum, just hold the meeting. Then I would like to ask if the select board has seen the Connecticut Valley Environmental Services letter dated 11/14 of 2024. My question is, yes,
Up here and talk, I can't.
oh, I'm,
Not
Jesus.
hearing you good.
I'm not,
I'm sorry.
that's okay. All right, so have you ever seen that Connecticut Valley Services letter from November? Okay, well, what's kind of curious to me is that the selectman at townofdalton.com is not the actual selectman's email. But I am finding that same email on a Forest Lake State Park page. So I'm kind of curious if your emails are being diverted elsewhere.
I'm sorry, say again, what is, I haven't seen the letter, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, obviously, because you didn't get it in the email. That's only a part of it.
What's the email address?
Selectmen@townofdalton.com,
Selectmen, M-E-N?
M-E-N.
Who's it from?
Connecticut Valley
Valley
Environmental
Environmental
Services.
Services,
When was it sent?
November 14th.
And so therefore, it also appears here. But you can have those. You can look into it. All right. Yes,
Can you send us all a copy of that?
sure. It's in the Planning Board, Conservation Commission meeting minutes. All right, comments on the special town meeting. Waste of time, waste of money for the town. Lack of confidence petition, nothing but a waste of time. Keeping the selectmen from doing town business, and most of all, it's just a harassment of the selectmen. It holds no water, so why waste the time and money? GSL petition, Does this petition say that the Conservation Commission and the Planning Board have as much authority as the Select Board? Just curious. And what's the legal liability for the town on that petition? I think legal should give a letter of opinion on that. And for Conservation Commission page, too many non-business items listed. Conservation Commission is not working for the good of the town. I think the Conservation Commission needs to look around the town as there are other issues such as dredging that they're not tending to. They also need to teach their members about conservation as they don't even realize the infractions they themselves commit. I have a question on meeting minutes, select board meeting minutes. How come the change from 1 to 2 pages to 6+ pages? In reading them, it's an awful lot of information that really is not necessary to select board meeting minutes. Then planning board. Why would you go against legal counsel? What kind of a liability legally is that going to get us into? And I do not believe this is in the best interest of the town.
So you're saying these statements, but I don't know they're not making sense to me because I don't know the background, I don't know the context. Like, why were you saying?
I don't really
planning
feel
board?
I ought to embarrass someone by mentioning their name for an infraction of conservation.
But like planning board, what are you talking about with going against legal with the planning
In
board?
their notes, they went to legal to get advice about House Bill, what is it, 1221? And that was not advised by legal to deal with that. That didn't even sound like it would make any changes with Casella or anything else. So they decided to go and try another avenue. Just saying. What else would you like clarification on? Just asking. You have
Go ahead.
nothing?
I mean, go ahead.
No, I'm done. You asked the question. I was gonna give you some information if you had any others. Thank you.
Thank you.
Andy?
Mandy Devino, Simons Road. I just need some clarification on why you went into non-public at the December 9th meeting after I presented the special town meeting. It's my understanding that under 91A that you must give an exemption, and that was not given. And therefore, because it wasn't given, those meeting notes should be unsealed, and it should be a public meeting moving forward. If it does have anything to do about myself, I request an open meeting for that as well, please. And that's 91A, paragraph 3, subsection C. I'm sorry, paragraph 2, subsection C, in which matters, if discussed in public, would likely affect adversely the reputation of any person other than a member of the public body itself, unless such person requests an open meeting. And therefore, I request this open meeting. I would also, again, like clarification why you went into non-public on December 9th, please.
I mean, there was a tax abatement issue, and then there were legal/personnel issues.
So after the petitions for the special meeting were given, Tom said we need to have legal look at it, and then he went to non-public. Was that one of the non-public discussed?
I don't know if they're discussing it.
I don't recall it.
I'm trying to refresh my mind. mean, there were other legal issues. And
I remember saying that I said it here in public, that I want to talk to legal.
I'm
That's,
just making sure that that wasn't.
yeah, that's it.
Anything else, Mandy?
Not at this moment, thank you.
Budget prep hearing?
so I hope both of you have, pulled up the calendar from the NHMA website. You'll probably remember this last year. We have to, the last day to have a public hearing for the budget is February 14th. And we have to post that by February 7th. It's already almost January. So we're going to have to start moving on the budget. And we may have to have extra meetings. I make a motion that
We may have to.
we ask the departments for their budget, their proposed budget, their budget requests.
Second half.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Will you do that for us, Jeanette?
I already did. I already did.
You're ahead of us, if you should.
I haven't gotten them all, but I've already asked.
Okay.
HB 1264 local election.
I think we need to put some dates on the calendar for budgeting.
So our next meeting is
6.
the 6th. We probably should plan on just a meeting the 13th as well, and maybe the 27th, just because we're gonna need to. Do you think departments will have their budgets by the 6th
You said 6, 13th and 1.
and 27th? We are, the 20th is a regular meeting already.
Yes. Hold on, I'm looking. We have to give 2 weeks' notice for the public hearings. Joe Beth?
So February 7th is Friday, February 7th is the last day for giving notice of a February 14th public hearing on the annual budget. So Friday, February 14th is the last day to hold at least one public hearing on the budget.
And
So
what's
that's
the
like a
deadline
very-
for holding a second if we have to?
Right.
What's the deadline for holding the second meeting if we have to have a second meeting?
I'm not sure they specify that. I think the key is by the Monday, the 24th of February is the last day to post the warrant in the budget. So you have to have everything complete by then. So we would have the budget hearing earlier, should be aimed for,
The 24th of February for the warrants.
I'm sorry,
You said the 24th for the warrants.
Yeah, everything has to
for
be
the
done by
warrant and the
then.
budget. The warrant for the town meeting. And then we have to have the town report available by Tuesday, March 4th. And this calendar's on the NHMA website.
Can we do Thursday, February 6th for our initial budget hearing?
Yeah, I think so. That works for me.
Should be at 6.
Should we make it a little bit later? I'm just thinking for people who get home from work at 6. I mean,
February 6th, I think.
yes.
Should we do like 7 o'clock?
And then if we have to do another one, we do it on the 13th.
And so it'll have to be posted by January 30th.
It's only 1 week notice?
I think so. I need to check RSA 32.5, 27. But here they have a week between the last day for giving notice and the last day of the public meeting.
Yeah, but it's not necessarily a public meeting, it's a public hearing.
Public
You've
hearing
gotta
on the
look at the budget,
On the budget.
RSA.
So I would just, I think it's
I'll
7
check.
days, but if you were checking.
You could be sending us anything we can look over before the hearings, budget hearings.
What would you like to see?
So we'll be developing the budget to propose at the budget hearings.
Yeah, but she usually has numbers that she works with.
So she's gonna try to get the department budgets
Yeah.
for us to review at our next meeting on January 6th. So it would be, if you could get them earlier, I think something like that would be,
It works out, she does.
I will see what I can get. Talking about budgeting, DRA approved us to expend $175,000 out of our fund balance to help cover the cost of the emergency road repairs this year. We also got an email from the New Hampshire Secretary of State regarding using the electronic quote-unquote official ballot system for all local elections. HB 1264 was approved last session, and that would apply to us. So we need to, find out what it's going to cost for us to utilize the tablet and have them programmed with our local ballot information on it. I haven't received anything yet. The Secretary of State is asking for a sample ballot, so I'll send that over to them. And then we'll have to figure out what those costs are going to be and make sure that we add it to our election budget for next year.
So do they provide the tablet? Or is it the one?
I think they will provide the tablet. That's what they've been doing so far, is they send it to us before the election and then we send it back. Well, we take it back the night of the election. So I'm hoping that's what they do and that each town isn't going to be required to purchase a tablet.
So what are the changes?
They would set up the tablet so that people who need that assistance can use the tablet in our town election.
So they
We
can actually
don't get
go-
them for our town elections, only state and federal elections.
Oh, okay. So it's applying it to our town elections.
Yes.
Okay.
I also got an email from NRRA regarding the hazardous household waste events. They're just sending it to us ahead of time, letting us know that Lancaster has confirmed their date for August 2nd of 2025. If we wanted to participate, they sent the preliminary fees, which are similar to what we paid this year, but there's also going to be an additional 5% fee on top of the total invoice cost for setup, unit fees, special pricing, so on and so forth. So that's something for us to consider.
What's the date on that? Do they want to do that?
August 2nd.
So it went pretty well this year, right?
Yeah, I don't think we had a ton of people, but it's the first one that we've done and I don't know how long, so if it were better publicized, we might have better turnout.
So are we at the point of needing a motion on that, or do we need to get the cost in front of us again and? more
You could motion
specifics?
on it now and then we just act on it as we get closer. I mean, it's up to you
I
guys.
mean, when do we need to respond, or?
She didn't say. She didn't give a deadline.
I make a motion that we tentatively plan to participate in the hazardous household waste day at Lancaster
I'll second.
Transfer Station again.
All in favor? Aye.
And then the last new item, I have received an email from who I believe is a resident. I don't recognize the last name, but that doesn't mean anything. Interested in using the gym in the building to practice basketball with their children. They want to do it on the weekends. I did talk to them on the phone and I told them the only issue would be we have one key, and if someone else is using the gym, then generally they have that key over the weekend. So that, I mean,
I don't have a problem according to scheduling, that's all there is to it, I mean, it is what it is.
just there wouldn't be anyone here.
Right.
Is there always somebody here when people use the facility? There isn't, is
No,
there?
not when they have a party or they use the facility for a meeting or anything like that.
And there's gonna be an adult here, right?
I can assume so.
Probably the parents, right?
You just got done saying that they wanna teach their kids basketball, the parents.
So they could practice basketball, yeah, with our children, it does say,
Yeah,
with our
oh,
children.
other adults.
I think that it's good to have the facility used, just
Yeah.
one opinion.
Yeah, just as long as there isn't someone else with the key using it. Or with the key, like,
So they'll have
if they're
to-
saying, well, we'll use it on Sunday because it's being used on Saturday, well, the Saturday people have the key. So, I mean, I guess we could get multiple keys if we wanted multiple keys, but we've had one key up to this point, and the person who needs it comes to get it and then they bring it back.
Could we get another fob and then that can be programmed?
Yes, we could.
Would that be, I mean, there's a little bit of a cost to that, but that would.
Yeah.
Give a little bit more flexibility and also control it so that the access to the building is limited to the time when they say they're gonna be using it.
Right.
And it sounds like they would need to coordinate with you each week in terms of
Yes.
scheduling. Are people using it for, football?
They never got back to me, so I'm assuming that they found another location. I did have someone come to me, the same person that came to us last year, looking at doing homeschooling a couple days a week. He has not come back and had anything concrete on that.
Do you need a motion for this, or is this? is it
No, I'm
usually-
just telling you,
Okay.
just getting
Just
your
yeah,
input.
yeah,
Yeah, just getting your input. I mean, if it's someone saying, hey, I want to use it for a meeting or a party or a family gathering, whatever, that's a onesie twosie. But if someone says, hey, I want to use it every Saturday, then I think that's kind of deserves more attention than just me approving it saying yes. That's all. That's all. That's all I got.
Any more?
I think so. I make a motion, we go into non-public,
You have to do public on that.
okay. Yeah,
Right, Mike?
Mike Ryan, Long Meadow Pond Road. On this household waste, did you, last time that you had this available to the town of Dalton, did you know how many people used it?
Yeah, there were 25 or so.
There was 25?
Yeah,
What'd they do? They register there? How does that go about?
No, they just show up with their household waste and
Right, do they sign in a book for their name and address?
probably not.
So you don't know that?
There was a fee.
There was a fee. People had to prove that they were from Dalton, but
And
they don't have to
they
like
paid-
sign a book.
They paid the fee or the Dalton
No,
paid?
Dalton pays the fee.
Well, then you don't know how many people used it, but we
Because
had to
we
make a
don't-
fee
We
payment.
don't pay by person. We pay by the amount of waste.
Right, but you don't know how many people used it.
I don't know off the top of my head. I could probably look at an invoice and say they got rid of this much hazardous waste, but people, no. I would guess, just based on asking, they said 20 to 25.
Well, that's a guess, you don't know that.
Well, because they don't charge per person, like,
I
So-
understand that, but if two people came there for it and you had to pay a fee of $1,000 or whatever, I don't think it makes sense for two people that the town had to pay $1,000 for two people to use that waste.
two people cannot turn in $1,000 worth of waste. So we had a representative from our transfer station there, taking the hazardous waste from the Dalton residents. And then the people who process the hazardous waste provide information on how much hazardous waste the residents of Dalton turned in. Because it's not done by head count. They don't do a person or car or truck or what I got was, we got about 20 or 25 people, but they don't charge by person, so I can't give you a definitive, yes, we had 18 people. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand.
Right,
Everyone's limited to 2 units of hazardous waste. So if we had 40 units of hazardous waste, you can assume that you had 20 or less people, 20 or more people, if you could only turn in 2 units.
Do these people have to show proof that they are from the town of Dalton?
Yes. That's why we have a representative from Dalton collecting the Dalton hazardous waste.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I talk loud, but I'll still stand up front. Because two of you know who I am. My name is Maura Chappelle. I like Annette, as you're writing my name out as Maura Annette Chappelle. I live in Jefferson, but I'm part of the Right to Know New Hampshire. And I just wanted to address a few things. Damn, I left my notebook, sorry. I've watched months of meetings and read back the minutes till like February. I think my eyes were starting to burn. A few weeks ago, September 9th, there was a meeting and it was announced that you're going to go into non-public, and a member of the public said, are you going to talk about anything afterwards? And they were told no, so everybody left. But when you left non-public, you brought stuff up and continued to talk. One member objected and said, this is not something we should be talking about, we've let the public go, but the meeting continued. That meeting should have ended. I mean, you're in violation. If that person who asked, are you going to talk about anything else after this, wanted to, they could go to the ombudsman and file a complaint. So I'm just letting you know for future, if you said you're not going to talk about anything after the non-public, you can't talk about anything after the non-public. That is a new meeting, and therefore it would not have been a noticed meeting. I have the worst handwriting as I scribble these things. The non-public, when you do go into non-public, you literally have to say, we are going to enter non-public. RSA 3- you have to literally give to the public. You can't say legal, you can't say welfare. Honestly, a lot of times you guys have said, we're going to go into non-public and just left it at that. You have to give specifically the RSA exemption why you're going to non-public. If there's more than one topic, you have to give each one. If it's 3 of the same topic, 3 exemptions, you have to say that. The public has to know that. And this is to you guys, any member of the public. And you are all, well, you're going to get a vote. Just so you know, you're a member of the public. You can, this addresses you too, because you're in that gray area of taking notes for you're obviously a resident. And it's not just a resident, anybody from the public. If they say they're going to go into non-public and you don't think it should be, you can address it saying, I know I'm the topic. I'm pretty sure, or for whatever reason, because if you're the topic, like she said, if you're the topic, then you get to say, I don't want it to be private. That's it. And if you, for any other reason, think that it shouldn't go into non-public, you state that. They have to put it in the minutes, both minutes, and that you absolutely objected to that. So just letting you know, and it's not just you guys. This is, like I'm part of Right to Know, there's a whole thing, because it's not just you. Jefferson is awful about it. Right to Know, non-public is abused. Non-public is 100% abused, and a lot of it, the abuse is just lack of knowledge, just not understanding that. But I would like to suggest, and literally Dalton, we had a meeting the other day, Dalton was a huge part of our meeting. It is highly suggested by the attorneys in the group that Dalton contact the NHMA and then invite the other towns. Tell Jefferson to come too, because they need it. Set up a Right to Know course for town employees, for anybody in the town, however many people you can fit in a room. NHMA will set it up, and 99.99% sure at no cost, because you're already paying into it. I have so much more on it, but I'm gonna talk privately on a few things. But that's the big thing, is when you go into non-public tonight, you have to give the specific reasons, and if anybody thinks that they shouldn't go into non-public, say it, have it put into the minutes. I'm open to questions if you have any.
This is just a little nitpicky, but I figure I should say it here. When one of the select board members believes that legal counsel should be consulted, they shouldn't say, I want to talk to legal. They should say, I want the select board to talk to legal. That's it.
Thanks, sir. Paul Devino, Simons Road. I believe tonight the vote that was taken to change carriers and providers for the town's trash was really done in an effort to save the town money. And I appreciate that. I can respect that. What I want to comment on is some of the due diligence and the analysis to get to that decision. And there's really three topics for me that come to mind when I think about what I heard and what I've seen over the last several meetings as that topic has continued to come up. So first one would be recycling. I didn't think we got a real clear answer tonight on, are we now going to get billed for recycling? Are we not going to get billed for recycling? So that's an added cost. So now you're not saving money. When Casella was here last time, I'd asked a specific question because one of my big concerns is the gap. We all know that Bethlehem closes at some point in time, and there will definitely be a gap. And that trash has to go somewhere. That somewhere is a long ways away from here, which means that the trucking is going to go up. And so I just want to make sure we're being very diligent as you move forward with this, if you move forward with this, that we're looking at annual costs. We're looking at annual cost increases. We're looking at the recycling costs. We're looking at when we can't deliver to Bethlehem anymore. What is the trucking change? So we don't do something as a town that's really good for us in 2025 maybe, but 26, 27, 28, forever that future looks like, it's not a good deal for the town. So that was just the comment that I wanted to make. Thank you for the time.
Camp Catherine, Harriman Road, Dalton. I believe that Casella stated that if they were to take your trash in the time frame they had set up, if they closed, if GSL never came in, that the trucking would be on them. Not change the rate that is set in contract.
We don't have that in writing though.
I think you do.
I don't know the RSA's for Publix.
I do.
It's on your agenda.
Given, I mean, I think Paul's comments were very articulate. Given those comments, do you want to reconsider the motion?
No.
I'm going to make a motion to reconsider the motion to move to Carberry based on the comments of Paul Devino.
What was the trucking cost to NC?
For something?
And what was it to Carberry?
$435 with $150 a month for
So
the rental.
why is Casella giving the town of Lancaster $600 trucking fee to Mount Carberry?
No idea.
What?
I don't
Why
know.
are they giving us
Can't
such a
find
good
out.
deal? I just,
So these are to Bethlehem, not to Carberry, so we don't know the cost for
And it's-
Casella to truck it to Carberry.
yeah, but I'm just saying, why do we get such a good rate?
Want to complain?
One, it could have to do with mileage. There's a significant difference in mileage between Bethlehem and Carberry. And two, on the recyclables, is there a thing I know that we put our cans, our soup cans and all that goes right into the metal container. They don't go into a box in there. I've seen them dump it, I've seen them over there. What part do we get paid for? That we're worried about on that we make money on?
Supposed to be paid on the metal.
Metals.
Right, I figured that's a
And the
whole
aluminum
container.
cans,
Huh?
probably the aluminum cans.
And the aluminum?
Yeah, we should be doing this. But I'm just gonna add this one little point, you're talking about that extra money. That extra money that, with Kyle getting the trailer, loading up, driving to Littleton, deliver, all that costs money. So it's,
We're paying
wear and
him
tear
to
on the
drive it.
vehicles,
So how
it
much
all
do we
balances
actually
out.
make?
That's all I want to say.
I have one more question. The dump was closed Tuesday. Is it going to be closed next Tuesday? It was not posted. Several people drove to Tuesday to the
I'll
transfer station.
look into it.
Now, everybody said they looked on the website. It did not say it was closed. It wasn't until they got to the gate and it said closed.
Calvin, Hammond Road. Why are we concerned about the cost for trucking and everything when we are going into special meetings, town meetings that require legal? I just don't get why it's okay to spend money for one thing and not the other.
It doesn't require legal, they ask for them. Nowhere in,
Good practice.
nowhere in the RSA does it say you require it.
I just have a question because I'm listening. I came from 91A, but of course I'm intrigued by all this other talk. Did the previous contract that was had, whoever was coming, there's so many names, whoever was coming and taking and dumping, did something happen to their contract? Did they close that you need to find someone new, or is it just finding someone new for the?
Are you a resident?
I don't need to be a member of the public. And I said I wasn't. I literally said Jefferson like 8 times.
He's flag of health is why he got done.
Okay. Just curious, just because. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, just curious.
Anybody else? I make a motion to go into non-public for 91-A:3. Personnel, legal, and welfare.
And in terms of the ones that we have, I know that there is a personnel/legal and a legal issue
There you
that I know about. Are there issues that you know?
I have no non-publics, not a single one.
I'm sorry, under the 91A that you cited?
Yep.
91A:3, and then what?
91-A:3.
And then
2A personnel. And
2E,
legal.
Okay, thank you. It's hard to read on the screen, so.
Made the motion, I second it.
all in favor?
Will you be coming back out to public? Or
No.
Never know. That's it.
Except for sealing the minutes.
Except for sealing. Just go see Jim.